Okay, this is the exterior video, and or at least part one. We're going to find out how much battery we have. This house is brick, and it's also wooden. Okay, this is a composition wood-like material. It's a fiber board material, so we're going to go with that a little bit. To move over here, we see some separation between the vertical trim board and the brickwork. We see some more separation between the vertical trim boards on this side, and nails are backing out right there. Alright, so it looks like it's been freshly painted or recently painted, or it hasn't been too long ago since it was painted. But this siding lasts about 14 years or longer. And the house is like 25 years, maybe it lasts 20 years, maybe, but this siding has lasted, this siding appears original, and it appears like it's lasted 25 years, so that's saying something for the product. But that's also a historical record. Our rain gutter is below grade here and above grade in some areas, but if we come up here where the rain gutter is all bent and distorted, we also notice, we can see that the rain gutter is disconnected right there. And I've got a camera pole up there, and we might, what is that? Some voicemail. Hello, this is Madison calling from Relief Services. Like, you know what relief would be? Relief would be if you quit calling me with all that. So anyway, I'm going to go up here. This is kind of meta. Can you see that? Maybe not. I'm going to take a same picture. Oh, but I can't, because I'm getting a phone call. Getting enrolled, and I can't do anything because of these goddamn sales calls. So come up here. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Just bear with me. This is really a test on the battery now, isn't it? Okay. So we're coming along here, and we're talking about our siding still. Eventually we're going to get to it. And I talked about this a little bit before, but we do not have Z-bar flashing. We're supposed to have Z-bar flashing right here because there's a drainage plane behind these walls. The drainage plane, the water goes down and comes out there. Okay, most of the time you're only going to see vapor, but we do have what's known as a drainage plane because all walls leak, all roofs leak. We design it to direct the water away from the structure, and so we should have Z-bar flashing over this window right here. Now here's the butt joints on our siding, and they are not supposed to be caulked, and they are. You see a big old gap in there, and water curls 3 inches. So even the siding wasn't properly lapped, and you're supposed to have flashing tape behind these joints, and we don't have that. So it's been around. As far as real estate's concerned, is it performing the function for which it's intended? And is it working today? We can sell the house, okay? And again, we have some history. This has been here for 25 years, but you got 25 years of history, and it wasn't installed right, and it's not going to get better. And is it broken today? No, but we need to plan here. Okay, so we got some more rain gutters below grade. This exterior receptacle works, all right, but it's not labeled as a GFCI. And if we look around here and we look at the yard, it kind of looks like a chess table or a checkerboard pattern. The yard has been resodded. And my client, when I was quoting the price, and my client, he said, I don't think the house has a sprinkler system. I said, well, if it doesn't have one, I'm not going to charge you for one. And I'm not going to charge you for one because it doesn't have one. You're right. But that doesn't mean this grass grows like this all the time without the lawn sprinkler system. It means at one time this grass was in such a condition, this lawn was in the turf was in such a condition that they, for the curb appeal and to get this house sold, a decision was made to, a house looks better with grass around it. Okay, you've got a big tree here giving you a lot of shade. You've got these trees over here giving you a lot of shade. The good part is that you've got some shade. You've got an oversized, not oversized, but you got a nice big beautiful patio cover giving you some shade. and sometimes the grass has a little trouble with this. I don't know if it's because of the lack of sunlight. I doubt that. I really do, but I'm trying to explore all options. Or it could have just not been watered properly. Here's an idea of why it might not have been watered properly is when you see these squares like this is an indication that the house has experienced some foundation repair. Okay. Now, we expect our patios to move, and I even have a video coming up about the cracks on the patio. It's all coming up. And how they're, don't worry about them, but keep an eye on them, but don't worry about them, but keep an eye on them. But over here, okay, where this door gasket is torn, right over here, see, right in here where the stoop has moved away a little bit, and then over here, this is a backer rod. Actually, it's a backer board, but these are called expansion joints. And there's a lot of discussion between expansion and control joints, but I agree with everybody that this is an expansion joint, and this should be sealed to help prevent moisture from getting between the patio and the structure, causing the ground to swell in this area and needing repair. So we need, a backer rod would be better over here because it's flexible. It's like a little rope, pool noodle, if you will, but it just fits in there, and then you put your sealant in there. And then I would take all this old backer board out. I'd clean all this out. If it wasn't me, and I don't spend a lot of money, I'm cheap, and I'm not talking about expensive, I'd clean all this out. I'd put my backer rods in here, and I'd put my mastic sealer in there. You need like 1 or 2 tubes. It's not expensive like a swimming pool would be, and I'd go ahead and I'd take care of that. Okay, we're coming along here. Back faucet works. Yeah, it does. We're not going to do the front one because we're going to do that in another video. And I've already talked about not being able to tell if we've got lagger bolts over there. When I was on the patio, I talked about this is the wrong type of cable or it's exposed cable. So I talked about some of this stuff. I talked about these posts being, this coming up. I'm going to talk about the posts being spaced too far apart and putting the pressure there. The roof video, I already told you I'm not real impressed with the roof. I really think you need a second opinion. And so when the grass wasn't working, but people wanted to go through the gate, I put out this flagstone. I can tell you about this flagstone a little bit. I've got a yard full of it. 2 yards, really, if you count the front yard. I've got a lot of it. This is nothing compared to my house. This is a good thing to do. All right? I like it. But I have to and this is beyond the scope of this inspection. I don't have to tell you this. But if you've got some, people whose equilibrium is challenged, and I'm not talking about kids because they're rubber. Children are rubber. They can run on this all day long. Make a playground out of it. But if you got some geriatric people like your home inspector, if you got some geriatric people, you might want to take into consideration that these are not dimensionally uniform, and they may want to take attention. You may want to call, their attention to it. If it's your grandmother, you may want to take her by the arm and walk through the gate. She's going to want to see your new house. Okay, this right here is called a shrinkage crack. Some people call them corner pops. Call it what you will. That is not a foundation problem. Okay, the brick and the concrete, for various reasons, move at different rates. The pressure comes out at the corner. This is pop. Now, it's an aesthetic issue, and it's also a brick issue because that's what's holding the brick up. But I would not count against your foundation whatsoever because of that. But it's also another issue. I've been contracted to do a wood-destroying insect, a termite inspection on this. And the Texas Structural Pest Control Board says that I've got to call this out as a conducive condition because termites will come up undetected through those cracks into your house. And I'm not saying that they will, actually I just did, but what I'm suggesting is that it's a conducive condition and they are capable of doing that. Termites are blind animals. And they've evolved. They've been around millions of years before us. And when the humans are gone from this earth, they'll be around for millions of years after us. And they have evolved. And even though they're blind, they know through pheromones and senses and temperature senses and shadows. And, they can feel radiant heat. But they will know that there's a crack right there that they cannot be seen in. And that's the way they get in their house. They can't afford to be seen because they're basically defenseless. So, but man, they can do some damage. They can do some damage, I gotta tell you. See, this is all recent. This is all recent. It used to look more like this. It used to look more like this. So we're coming on along here. We got brick walls. Okay, these are called weep holes. Weep holes. Okay, brick is a wonderful building material. This house can burn down and you can reuse the brick. All right, it's a great insulator. But a characteristic about brick is it's porous and water goes right through it. Just like I was talking about the boards on the other side. And so it's designed so we have a drainage plane on the other side of this brick. A drainage plane that I can't see, I can't inspect, by the way. So we got a drainage plane on the other side of the wall. Most of the time, the only thing that's going to come out of these weep holes is vapor. Okay, because there's moisture and vapor, and that's the way it works. If you have an event, there's a bathroom right there. If you have an event, I've had a couple. I hope you don't. But water will come out of these. But these weep holes belong here. I understand that this might be your first building. I'm talking to my client here, my dear client. So first, you're like, I don't want ants getting in there or whatever. But no, these are integral parts of the house. When I say they're integral parts of the house, we come up over here and we've got a metal lintel over our fenestration, and the metal lintel holds the bricks up over there. And what do we not have over these bricks? We do not have weep holes, so water will accumulate here and collect in your windowsill. So it's just the way it works. I'm sorry, but you should have weep holes. And I say, is that difficult to install? I said, no, it's just a masonry drill. You go in the width of the brick and no farther, because you don't want to disrupt the drainage plane, but just as far as the brick, and you open up a weep hole over one of these windows, and that would be a good preventative thing for you. And these are double pane metal frame windows. We do not have weep holes, and when you look at the windows, can you see that? Okay. Wonder how that got in there. Oh, you got a bathtub. Yeah, you got a bathtub there. You got a bathtub there. Well, I think it came from the windows. I'm looking over here. I'm looking at this stain. You see that stain right there? I don't know if you can see it right here. That stain right there, and some water's coming off of here, and that's all messed up, man. It's all messed up. All I can say. Now, speaking of stains, here is a sewer clean out on the bathroom side. This is the primary bathroom. That's your home inspector right there in the mirror. Okay, you see these stains right here? This home has had a history. It's had a history of leakage in this area. They've had to open this up and put a snake in there, an auger in there, a rotor-rooter, call it what you will. But this sewer has had to be cleaned out because we've got some leakage right there. And so there's some history that we don't know about. Okay, now this crack right here, okay, that is a control joint. Some people call them expansion joints. Call it what you will. But you can't have, in this part of the country, you can't have this much and you got another one over there by that window. We conveniently put them by the windows. Because if you don't, and you miss it like this window up here, see, it's going to make its own expansion joint. It's going to make its own control crack. It's going to crack right there. So this, what does sealant do? It gets hard, it keeps the water out, it keeps the bugs out, it keeps the environment out. It's good for the insulation of the house. It's there for good, meaningful purposes. But sealant dries, gets hard, and cracks. And so the sealant should be replaced every few years, or even added where you don't have it, because you're missing some sealant right up there. And we're moving on along, because we're movers. We're a mobbing and a gravin'. We're coming along here. This right here, okay, that is a rain gutter downspout. Duh, bud. Is it really? Sure it is. But like the other ones that went below grade, this one goes above grade. And it's supposed to carry the water out 10 feet, 6 feet, 8 feet. It's supposed to carry the water out away from the house. How far are we away from here before we get to your neighbor's house? It's supposed to go at least this far. Okay, there's another control joint. You can see that it's getting dry and it's cracking a little bit. That pipe coming out of your house, that's for the water heater. Okay, that's the water heater drain pipe. And it is supposed to discharge facing the ground. And you can see there's one bend right here coming out, one bend going down. That's two. We're going to be counting bends here in a little bit. And then it discharges facing the ground. It's supposed to do that. But what it's not doing is it is not between 3 and 6 inches. That's more like 8 inches from the ground, so that's too high. When the temperature pressure relief valve opens up, it comes out at 200 psi at 200 degrees. Man, this steam, it comes out. It'll French fry your little chihuahua if your chihuahua's sitting there and it happens. Anyway, you'll probably never have a problem with it that height. I probably wouldn't change it in my house. That's not right. I'm telling you about it. I would never dissuade my client from seeking perfection. So coming along here, we got a little separation between this window frame right here and the brickwork. So let me get out my tape measure. I'm gonna get out my thing here, and we're going to have. Hang on, what file are we in? Oh, we got to go further than that. Okay, separation between the window frames and the brickwork on the